Hey gang, if you've been around treatment centers, recovery circles, you've undoubtedly heard of Big Book, whether you're in recovery or just work in the field or a family member. And that's in reference to the Alcoholics Anonymous book, textbook. It's really a roadmap for living. The first 164 pages break down the 12 steps and the problem of alcoholism, which is really a spiritual solution, malady, and then the solution, which is finding a way to fill that spiritual malady with something positive. And then the rest of it after 160, page 165 on is personal testimonials, starting with Dr. Bob, who was a co-founder with Bill Wilson of AA. They met in 1935. There'll be another video on that story. It's too much to get into right now. And the book was published in 1939. Bill, the primary author, Bill Wilson from New York, was just worried that people weren't getting enough bang for their buck. So he took it to the printer the first time, and it was like 400 pages, but seemed kind of flimsy. And he wanted to charge $3.50 in 1939, which would be like $50 today. Maybe acceptable for like a college textbook, but not for most everyday reading books. Not that that's what this is, but so he ended up meeting with a guy, Edward Blackwell of Cromwell Publishing, and they went about setting large type fonts, creating margins that you could park your car in, thick paper, and this sort of bright red binding that the publisher just happened to have a surplus of. So the first edition big books, if you've seen on the thumbnail for this video, I'll have a picture of one, but it's like a Art Deco kind of red, yellow, black design, and then everything else after that is really just kind of conservative, just blue with the Alcoholics Anonymous title. In fact, the fourth volume, which is the one still in use today, I think it was printed in the early 90s, is blue because the publisher at the time had a surplus of blue binding material. But it's really just called the Big Book because it's simply a big book. Here's a copy of my leather study edition. Here's a small big book. I'm not at home right now, otherwise I'd have a stack of different examples to show. I'm sure that'll be a fun time for everyone. But again, it just was really trying to give people the sense that they were getting something for their dollars. And boy, were they. They were getting a new life. They were getting a life in sobriety where they had the opportunity to live happy, joyous, and free and recover from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body, all because of some simple guidance and spiritual actions recommended in this book. This is not cult stuff, people. This is not religion. It talks about God, but your own concept of a God. It doesn't talk about religion, doesn't say you need to go to church, doesn't even mention meetings in the literature, the earliest literature. But it does talk about a spiritual program of action and being of service to others and admitting our wrongs and taking personal inventory, to get past that stuff. And again, these are all topics for other videos. Just wanted to give you a little bit of trivia, and now you know why it's called the Big Book.